Yeah, I've said it before. Brian Mullins is one of those topics that'll come up every now and again because, you know, new people come in and they have no idea about this guy. But basically, Brian Mullins is a schizophrenic furry who has hot takes. Now, I also do believe that Brian is actually schizophrenic. So, and there's a lot to go with Brian, right? But Brian is actually like an actual crazy person. This is like, it is so easy to tell that this guy is mentally ill, right? There's like a different ways. If you guys have ever experienced or like viewed schizophrenics on the internet, like, there's like a certain way that people who are mentally, like, an actual, like, paranoid, like, tinfoil hat wearer, there's just a certain way that they, like, make websites and make videos that just is this way, right? So, he reminds me a lot of the fucking, the Time Cube guy, right? That's, like, one of my favorite, like, weird old websites. But it's like this really weird, like, long website with all this dysfunction on it, right? Yeah, man. The fucking roast games. Okay, so the roast games is a theory, internet, and it is a theory about how the United States secretly had children's asses cut off and eaten. And yes, that is something that is Brian's theory of everything. All of Brian's beliefs, if you've ever watched any of his stuff, are all based around that. It doesn't matter what his opinion is. It affects literally every single belief he has, right? This is like one of those quintessential schizophrenic theory of everything things where it's like, oh, the universe is controlled by mole people. This is another one of Brian's things, right? Brian preps his videos years in advance. Years. This video doesn't come out until 2026. I really would like to know and understand what the roast games is now, not in 40 billion years.
Hello, everybody. I'm Detective Brian, and this very first case of the roast game theory is called The Old Country Home of Fort Mill, South Carolina.
So, you know what? And this is how I know this guy is certifiably crazy. So one of my favorite, so we've looked at like actually mentally ill schizophrenic people a few times on this channel. And one of the things they do is that they never explain what their theory is. They always jump right into the minutia and detail, assuming you already agree with them and already like understand and know what the roast games is.
An old country house I knew and visited multiple times as a child, and growing up, my brother told me when I was young that this old country house was actually built in 1973. What I will be using to find real names of
crazy people assume you're already in their mind and understand exactly what they're thinking.
child that was slaughtered and eaten for not believing in Christmas is something that actually works. It is called the investigation calculation technique, which is similar to the forensic math decimal, but instead of finding the home of the slaughtered child just after finding the name of the child with the roast game death toll timeline, which to be specific is from November 17th, 1998 to June 11th, 2017.
Okay, so so basically in that short period of time is when the roast games happen, right? That's a really important fact that Brian is just leaving out. By the way, I do want to say this is a quote-unquote season 1 of the roast games, and he's basically explaining it as if we already know it, and I just love that.
Alongside with the roast game death toll itself, which is 18,568,322.
18 million, over 18 million kids were killed during the roast games, guys. You gotta understand.
Next, by getting the child's middle name, I divide the decimal number I got the first name of the child from by the middle number of that.
Okay, all right, buddy. All right. So another thing that's real fun about these kind of guys, right, is that numerology plays a huge role, right? So he's taken like this equation and he's equated this equation to being able to solve the mystery, right? You know, when people prescribe a lot of value to a number, he's doing that. He lost me. Yeah, I gotta be honest, I don't really understand what he's on about here too. I actually don't understand a single thing he's saying.
Like using the roast game as the event of what happened. The school that child went to that serves the specific house before the child was slaughtered and literally eaten as the Christmas roast, etc.
Okay. All right. So here's something that happened. Every time I like conspiracy theories, right? If any of you have been a fan or like followed me for a bit, you know that I have like this overwhelming love and appreciation for conspiracy theory. I don't believe in any of them. I probably do. We all do to some extent, right? Things we don't even think our conspiracy theories are. One of the things that I always say in these conversations when we talk about conspiracy theories is how many people were involved in it. The more people you include in a conspiracy theory, the less likely it is to be true. So the world being flat is infinitely less understandable as a believable conspiracy theory because it requires so many people to be on the same page. Whereas something like the murder of Jeffrey Epstein is more believable because the amount of people involved couldn't be over like 100. But this would require like every single family in America in the 90s and early 2000s to agree to keep this quiet.
I did just that. I got the first name of the child that was slaughtered in that house. The first name was Damien. The middle name was Amber.
Oh my god. This is absolutely schizo numerology, dude. I know that Brian has like a thing for his name. He has one of those Google alert things for his name. Brian, I would love to know your theory of everything. I mean this with no, I'm gonna laugh at it because you're not here. But I will be 100% honest and really frank with you. I can turn it off if you're willing to talk to me.
I connected the dots, and I found out that he was 4 years old, was a Christian too, and went to Pleasant Knoll Elementary School.
All right. So I think if he just said his theory rather than just said he did a bunch of math and figured it out, I honestly, like, this is ridiculous and I don't believe it. But I would listen to it more if it wasn't just I did a bunch of math and discovered everything. like the implication there is insane, right? Let's think about it, guys. If you could solve any crime by just doing a series of calculations, that is absolutely astounding, okay? Like, the concept that the entire universe could be explained solely by numbers, like a sociological event could be described just by numbers itself, is very funny.
Take a look at this photo. Damien Amber Hefner, born February.
Take a look at this photo. How do I know you didn't make this? This isn't like a photo. You made this, okay? Like this is all off center, okay? Fucking reason of death literally eaten as a Christmas roast after being slaughtered for not believing in Christmas. Okay, who's gonna tell him about Jewish children? How do we address the Jewish children who celebrate Hanukkah? Diesel asking to JQ, yeah, what happens if you celebrate Hanukkah? Do you participate in the roast games if you celebrate Hanukkah? Oh, honey, Miriam doesn't believe in Hanukkah. Time to get the roast out.
Hello, everyone.
How could this possibly include a paid promotion? What paid promotion is in this? Who's advertising on a Brian Mullins video with 141 views?
I'm Detective Brian.
This guy's not a real detective. You know, I've been thinking about this guy's videos, and I don't think he really knows what he's talking about. Roast games theory case number 2. First name of child, James O'Gill Abbey. Date of birth, 1990. Date of death, November 17th, 1998. Cause of death, literally eaten as a Christmas roast. Wait, what? So so the kid was killed in November and then not eaten until Christmas dinner for not believing in Christmas. Like, okay, listen, I'm not a cannibal, but I feel like if I was a cannibal, I wouldn't want my meat sitting around for a month. You know what I mean? Like, if I... This is like the biggest Fed post ever. I'm joking. I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking. I'm not a cannibal, but is totally just the worst thing you could ever say. Like, if I were... There's no way to not make this sound crazy. I'm sorry, I can't even get through it. It's so stupid. But if I killed a person and I'm going to eat them, wouldn't I want to eat them while they're freshest right after I kill them? Because wouldn't the meat get tough if I let it rest for a long time? Like rigor mortis will set it. Like all these things you don't want to happen would ruin the meat. So like if you kill someone, you should eat them right away for maximum freshness. You know, farm to table behavior. That's not a good Christmas roast. Oh my god. No, instantly into ice chest. I don't know, man. I feel like, you know, it's just a lot to deal with. You know, I gotta have all this space to put the body. This is JF posting, actually. Yeah, but you need to have a freezer big enough to fit a small person. Yeah, 18 million is like 5% of the US population. Okay, listen. If 18 million kids all vanished over a Christmas dinner, I feel like that would be recognizably visible on the country's demographics. There is so much stuff here that it's completely like this guy has put out more content than most YouTubers. All right, you know what's stopping a YouTuber from being successful? How mentally ill they are. All right.
And this is a slaughterhouse, and the name of the child that has been slaughtered is Chase Gage Eam.
So he's just making this like, where did the names come from? So okay, all right, so he was slaughtered and eaten by his family. So hypothetically speaking, if a child is raised to adulthood and that child comes of age and then starts their own family, do the old parents come to that child and say, listen, when you have your kid, if he doesn't believe in fucking Christmas, you're going to cook and eat him, right? Like you need, like I'm trying to understand the mechanics of the conspiracy theory, right? Because here's the mechanics of the conspiracy theory for flat Earth, right? A pilot starts flying a plane. They go through all the process, go all through the training, right? They do all of it, and then they start flying. And then obviously when they're flying in the sky, they learn that, hey, there's no fucking curvature or something, right? So then they know the truth. So somebody from the deep state, I guess, has to come to them and then give them money to be like, shut up. Shut up, don't say anything, the world is round. Don't tell anybody that the world is flat. Here's money for keeping it quiet, right? So like, how does that work in the concept of the roast games? Because if like all the parents got to be in on it. So like what happens generationally? What happens communally between the people? How do you keep it quiet? That's what I want to know. How do the roast games roasters keep it quiet? A lot of conspiracy theories have an answer for that, but this one, threat of death, I suppose. But this is presupposing that every family has parental cannibals. It's the Christian cabal. I believe Brian is a crazy atheist. I feel like 98 was the year we all found out about Catholic priests. But the roast games is an American event. He describes it like an American event, but the Catholic Church is a global is a global entity. So are people doing the roast games in other countries, or is it just the roast games here? I want to see the, whoa. There's like a lot going on here. So it's roast game entertainment. The roast game okay. This is the Evangelion opening. Dude, the Zillow flashing on screen really gives credence to that. He just went on Zillow and found a place. Dude, this is actually this is weird guerrilla marketing from Zillow, guys. I don't know, man. What does apartments.com think about this? Dude, he might actually kill me if this keeps going. Dude, you gotta be fucking kidding me. It's like a minute of him trying to induce a seizure. This is unironically like a fucking Family Guy bit. You know when you go see a movie and there's like 40 different people all sponsoring the movie, so it goes on a little long and you're like, you know you're in for it when the movie has like Shenzhen Media Company followed by like another media company, right? And it's like the regional government of wherever the movie was produced.
Parody logos are making a swift comeback, bringing back the nostalgia of season 2.
I like how he's treating this like it's just entertainment. But like the morbid humor of this is that he's like, guys, I know you guys have nostalgia for the past roast games videos. It's like, we're talking about the largest genocide of children in American history, and you're making a mockery of it? You're making a mockery of those children's asses that were eaten, buddy?
The Roast Game Awareness Month. Although turkey isn't necessarily a traditional centerpiece meat choice for Easter, for both eras I will account for them as well, because some families aren't always traditional in the sense where
Dude, you go to Walmart and you see people walking around. This might be one of those people. Does that not horrify you? Hot wine for the autumn winter. Microwaved barefoot Merlot red wine.
Microwave just to warm it up. Maybe get it boiling a little bit. Just, you know, like any boiling liquid, like water.
Dude, you got the Aldi boxed wine in there, bro.
Case for hot chocolate if you add the powder afterwards. But this is no hot chocolate at all. This is Merlot. This is red wine. Here it is, the finished product. Hot steaming Merlot in the chilly autumn. Nice and toasty for the fall and winter. Bye.
Bye, Brian. Oh my god, I went to his 2025 rants, and I just reasons why dismantling the Department of Education is the right move. Yeah, Brian Mullins passed away a month ago. He just has videos planned out in advance, right?
Here are 5 reasons why dismantling the Department of Education is not only the right move, but it's also the only way that education in this country can ever advance, improve, and raise the
Oh my god. Listen, man, if the Department of Education was getting appropriate funding, Brian might have gotten the fucking aids that he needed to not fail fucking high school, bro.
Getting rid of this federal department should help states get back that chance to control education and how each citizen and child is educated in their own state. It should be a state-by-state issue.
Listen, Brian, okay, not to be political Andy, right, yada yada, right? If we look at tax revenue, okay, if the state gets more tax revenue from its populace, would their schools not be better funded than other states? Yes or no? Yes. You'd earn, like, there'd be more taxable income from, like, fucking blue states, right? So we would have this situation where there are certain states with really good education, and then certain states that get no tax revenue that have really bad education, okay? Because they're not able to fucking fund it, all right? So Brian, you sound like you're, I don't know, fucking Midwesterner or something, right? Some flyover fuck-off state, right? Your school that you were going to would get less money if there was not a federal department in order to subsidize those funds, all right?
Shouldn't
we have been just fine without this department being a thing? It was one of a lot of the shittiest things to come out of the Carter administration, much less the 1970s. Number 3, it's a waste of taxpayer money and other resources letting...
Oh my god, this is... Dude, he's spitfiring these, man. I don't know, bro.
The feds help educate kids, even when a great portion of them are poor and live in poverty. And
Yes, but the idea of a federal institution that standardizes education is so that way the poor kids who live in poverty get the same education that the rich kids do, okay? Obviously, in practice, that doesn't work, right? So obviously, there needs to be some more oversight and reforms. I'm not saying that there isn't issues, right? But like, brother, what?
And finally, number 5, these federal employees do nothing but push DEI, woke propaganda.
Oh my god. Oh. 2 reasons why having a fictional crush has nothing to do with relationship skills. All right, this is like the biggest cope title I've ever read in my entire life.
And this one will be about reasons why people being in a crush with a fictional character says fuck all about their relationship skills.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna point it out, but like, what the fuck is with this character's design, brother? What is going on, dude? What is going on?
Pretending you're in a relationship with a fictional character, whilst being in a real one, has nothing to do and has no effect on their real relationship.
Okay, having a fictional crush is whatever, right? There's really no issue with that, right? I mean, I've talked about Lady D as much as the next guy, but if you're in a relationship with a fake character and you're also in a relationship with a real person at the same time, yeah, that's a bit strange.
A lot of people who are married or either engaged or just boyfriend, girlfriend have fictional crushes, and they can separate those crushes from the real ones they have themselves. It's not a matter of personal responsibility, it's a matter of imagination, and how much you have it, and how much is healthy, and how much is unhealthy. People can have a healthy, responsible imagination with whatever crush they have, with whatever character they desire.
Guys, this guy sounds like he's coping for having a fictional crush after he got told that he should just go out and find a girlfriend. Listen, you can't, real talk, you don't just walk out into the middle of the street, put a sign up and say, I'm looking for a boyfriend-free girl, okay? But like, you do need, like, when people say that, right, they don't know how to articulate the point. What they're saying is, I think you should go outside and experience things, so hopefully you can come across somebody who has similar interests to you.
Now, before we start with this linear timeline of the history of my fictional crushes, I didn't really have any long-lasting or long-term crushes on any character, fictional or otherwise, in my prepubescence and early portions of my teenage years. Bubby from The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack, voiced by...
Whoa! Whoa! Oh my god. You know, here I was thinking he'd say something like the Hex Girls or Raven. I mean, those were mine when I was younger, but you know, it's like, brother, the whale from Flapjack?
But all of a sudden, all that changed on January 2nd, 2014. It dawned on me that I began my first ever long-term crush on a fictional character known as Sasha Lafleur. And this was after almost a week since I first watched All Dogs Go to Heaven 2, that
Sasha
shitty and
Lafleur.
good-for-nothing sequel.
Okay, hold on. Let me look up that character. Brother. Brother. Listen, man, I'm not even like anti-furry, bro, but like, a lot of furries think people who are into ferals like this are fucking zoophiles in disguise, okay? I mean, this is zoophile posting. All right? You get ostracized from the furry community for being this. All right? Like, if it was like a Zootopia thing, I'd be like, all right, whatever. But like, brother... All right, we're just gonna listen to this message to the president. Listen, guys, if he says something about woke or DEI, you gotta take a drink.
This is just a simple message to Donald Trump. A complete
Could you imagine Donald Trump sitting in his office? Look at that guy. Look at that little fox. He's talking. That little fox. I love that guy. What's his name, Elon? I think his name is Brian Mullins, sir. I love that guy, that Brian Mullins guy. It's one of the best guys I've seen on YouTube.
fair and neutral one. So brace yourselves. Dear President Trump, welcome back to the White House. Sure, might have acted like a sore loser because you believed you won, even though you didn't.
Okay, this guy not being a jazz sixer is really funny too.
But it's good to see you back in the White House. You may not be perfect, I will still criticize you, I will rant and rave about you once a month on my old politics channel, and I will make sure—
That guy said I was a sore loser. No, I wasn't. Brian, I'll have you deported. Deport him right now. Elon, go get the Tesla bots. We're gonna get rid of him.
that your second and last term as president of the United States will be eons better than 4 years of Joe Biden could ever hope to be. It's that bad.
Maybe I'm a bit sour right now because I just looked at my stock portfolio before going live, and I'm Elon, put him in the Cybertrunk. We're putting him in the Cybertrunk. I don't like how he said this is my last term. I didn't like it.
But focus on the most important stuff, alongside with getting rid of the deep state and doing as much as you can to confirm—
Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. That's right. We're getting rid of the deep state. Elon, can I have another $500,000 for this car? Here you go. I'm gonna use this when I go play Path of Exile later.
Focus on doing your job if you're not too busy tweeting. Don't fuck our economy up ever again. Don't—
This is aged so funnily. Dude, this is his fault. This is Brian's fault. Brian's message didn't reach Donald Trump. He didn't try hard enough, and now look at where we are.
Pull us through and double down on another Black Swan event, like the coronavirus, aka the COVID-19 pandemic.
That's right, we had no Black Swan events. Liberation Day was one of the best days for the economy. You will suffer pain, but it'll be worth it. You're gonna make iPhones. You kids are gonna make iPhones. It'll be $9,000. It'll be great for me. I mean you.
And you would win me over if I was your #1 detractor. I'm just not a fan of you, and that's fair enough. I'm not a fan of much of any politicians, because now you know what games you should and should not play. And I hope for the next 4 years that you can
this guy talks about the roast games. Listen, Elon, bring him in. I gotta figure out this roast game stuff. We've gotta figure it out. This roast games is not good. I'm gonna bring in Brian. He's an expert. He'll do the math. Look at him go. Look at that little guy. He's doing math over there.
And before I go, I'm just gonna say, sometimes Trump says something that's right, and sometimes Trump says something that's wrong.
Oh my god, dude. This is so funny. This is so funny. This is so funny. Dude, I hope Brian gets priced out of the economy, man. What the fuck? Well, chat, I think that's enough Brian Mullins for today.